Imagine living a perfectly ordinary life. The quiet routine you've always known, farming, festivals, the familiar faces of your village. And then, without warning, something dark and just. Utterly inexplicable tears through it all. A shadow on the road that only you seem to see, followed by these, well, monstrous creatures straight out of nightmare attacking your home. This sudden, terrifying disruption is exactly where this book drops us, revealing just how quickly your world can fundamentally change when hidden forces, decide to step into the light.
That contrast is incredibly sharp, isn't it? The piece of Emmons Field feels so solid, so rooted in the earth and tradition. But then, just like that, that foundation is shattered by a brutal alien threat. It forces you to confront the idea that the quiet life might just be, well, a thin veneer over something ancient and dangerous.
Absolutely.
Right.
And our goal today with this fascinating book you've shared with us is to kind of take that shock and follow where it leads. We're going to unpack the most intriguing parts, find those crucial insights, maybe the surprising moments that make this world feel so vast and complex. Think of us as your guides, sort of helping you understand what's really important as you read along. And as we navigate this journey, we wanted to mention a resource you might find really valuable. It's called Mindful Moments, and you can find it on our YouTube channel. It uses AI analysis of books like this one to offer prompts for reflection and critical thinking, giving you new ways to engage with these ideas on a deeper level.
Yeah, engaging with the material critically can really unlock its layers. It moves beyond just following the plot to understanding the themes and motivations driving it all.
Couldn't agree more. So where does this all begin? Emmons Field. Picture it. Nestled right up against the edge of the Westwood Forest, seemingly peaceful, full of farms and fields. But there's this sense of caution, especially looking west towards the mountains. You have the rich, fertile land to the east, perfect for farming. But the west, near the woods and the mountains of mist, that's harder land, rocky, less settled. People in the village carry this kind of old unease about venturing too far that way.
And that geography isn't just setting. It establishes an immediate boundary between the known, safe world and the wild, unpredictable edge.
Yeah.
Right, it tells you instinctively that danger might lie just beyond the horizon.
Right, and living in this seemingly protected place are young people like Rand, Matt, Perrin, and Egwene. Their lives are centered around farm chores, getting ready for the upcoming Winter Night Festival, the rhythms of village life. They seem like completely ordinary young people.
Their ordinariness is vital. It makes the sudden, terrifying arrival of something extraordinary that much more impactful because they're so unprepared for it.
And that arrival comes swiftly. First, that chilling appearance of the man in the black cloak, a fade, as we learn later that only Rand sees on the road. Silent, eerie, a promise of darkness. Then, the peddler Padan Fane arrives with the winter night crowds. He's a familiar face, someone who's come through for years, but this time. Well, there's something off about him. He feels different, almost predatory.
Right, Fane's presence, blending in with the festive crowd, is a perfect symbol of how the dark can infiltrate the light. He's the seemingly harmless presence that actually heralds the true invasion.
And the invasion is brutal. Trollocs, these monstrous human-animal hybrids, and a half-man, that chilling fade, attack Rand and Tam's farm. The book describes the terror. Axes splintering the door, guttural roars, those unnatural sounds inside the house. It's just the absolute destruction of their peace. Tam is severely wounded in the fight.
And this is the moment Moiraine and Lon enter. Moiraine, introduced as an Aes Sedai, that's a woman who can channel or wield the One Power, this vast force of magic in this world, and Lon, her warder, a highly skilled companion and protector bonded to her. They arrive knowing exactly what this attack signifies. Moiraine immediately identifies Tam's wound as being from a Trolloc weapon forged near Sheol Ghul, the domain of the Dark One. She recognizes it carries a taint, a corrupting influence that won't heal naturally and will consume Tam's life unless stopped.
The urgency is immediate, and Moiraine shares another crucial piece of information. She can sense that Nynaeve, the village wisdom, has the potential to touch the true source, to also channel the One Power. Moiraine explains she seeks women with this potential not just to train them, but because if their abilities aren't guided, that raw potential can actually kill them. She's on a mission of both, recruitment and rescue.
Yeah, it adds this whole other layer of tragic danger to this power. What might seem like a gift is also potentially a death sentence if left uncontrolled.
So they have to leave, right away. No time for proper goodbyes, just a desperate flight into the unknown. Rand leaves his father in Nynaeve's care, hoping her healing skills can help, and they flee Emmons Field with Moiraine and Lon. The book even mentions details like the horses they use, including Rand's sturdy farm horse, Bella.
Exactly. Including Bella grounds the fantasy. It reminds you these are real people on makeshift journeys, not epic heroes already equipped for battle. They're using whatever they have to survive.
As they journey, Lon is constantly scouting ahead, wary of pursuit. There's that initial fear, always looking back, hands on their weapons. But the landscape changes as they move further away. They leave the familiar Two Rivers Hills behind.
The changing environment really reflects their changing reality. They're literally leaving their old world behind for something vast, unknown, and full of new dangers.
And they encounter people who embody vastly different ways of life. First, Tom Maryland, the gleeman, joins them. He's a traveling entertainer, juggling, playing music, telling stories. He brings a flicker of light and distraction to their grim flight. He travels with them, offering what comfort and guidance he can.
Yeah, but Tom's more than just entertainment, though. You sense immediately he has layers, a hidden depth and knowledge that becomes crucial later on. He represents a different kind of wisdom than Moiraine's.
Then they meet the Tuathan, the traveling people. Their bright, painted wagons and vibrant clothes are such a total contrast to the fear they've been living with. Their philosophy is the way of the leaf, absolute nonviolence even in the face of attack. Rain and Isla are their leaders, committed to peace above all else.
And that philosophy is, well, it's really challenging in the context of the violent world the characters are suddenly plunged into.
Yeah.
It makes you question how one can truly live in peace when faced with pure evil.
And it's among the Tuathan they hear a truly striking story. An Ale woman from the Waste, someone who apparently despised the Tuathan, calling them lost ones, came seeking them. With her dying breath, she delivered a critical message through their seeker, someone trained to listen for truth. The message. The Dark One, called Leaf Blighter or Sight Burner by the Ale, intends to blind the eye of the world and slay the great serpent. She warned them to stand ready for he who comes with the dawn.
Wow, yeah, it's pivotal. It connects the attack in Emond's Field to ancient prophecies and cosmic stakes. The Dark One isn't just a boogeyman. He has specific goals tied to the fundamental balance of the world, symbolized by the eye and the great serpent. And the messenger being an Ale, a people known for their fierce warrior culture delivering a message to the pacifist Tuathan. Well, that makes it even more resonant.
Later, Rand is separated from the group and meets Elias Machera alongside Perrin and Egwene. Elias knows about Trollocs, which is unsettling because they've gone so far from home. But then, even more disturbing, Elise reveals their path towards Camlin is completely wrong. They've traveled hundreds of miles north off course. It completely throws their journey into disarray.
Right. Elias represents this different kind of knowledge honed in the wilderness. His appearance confirms their fears they are deeply lost, and the dangers they face are widespread, not confined to their home region.
And while navigating these external dangers and confusing directions, Rand, Mat, and Perrin are also experiencing these shared, terrifying nightmares. Dreams featuring a man killing a rat, and visions of Belalzamon, the apparent face of the Dark One.
Yeah, these aren't just bad dreams. They are shared supernatural incursions. Belalzamon appears, making horrific claims that he is unbound, that he influenced figures from history like Luz Theron Kinslayer and the legendary Ardor Hawkwing, that he caused the horrific Trolloc Wars and Hawkwing's death.
He even whispers to Rand about influencing Luz Theron to kill his own family. Mat feels physically violated by these dreams, like a sense of being invaded or dirty. It feels very real, very personal, and very wrong.
The fact that all three young men share these dreams and have a physical reaction, it suggests they're being specifically targeted, perhaps even influenced, on a deep spiritual level by the Dark One.
After being separated from Moiraine and Lon, Rand, Mat, and Tom travel by boat down the Arenelle River. It's a different kind of journey, but the world continues to reveal strange things. They pass huge carved figures of kings and queens, hundreds of feet tall, on the bluffs along the riverbanks.
Those huge carvings. They hint at this history and power level far beyond anything the characters have known. They are physical remnants of ages past, suggesting greatness and perhaps warnings lost to time.
And then there's the truly inexplicable metal tower the boat captain mentions. Shining steel, 200 feet high, completely seamless, no rust, no openings. Mat's immediate reaction, maybe fueled by the darkness stirring in him, is to think of treasure inside.
Yeah, Matt's focus on the tangible, like treasure, in the face of something so alien and mysterious is very telling, isn't it? It's a way to try and impose some kind of familiar order on the inexplicable, even if it's, well, misguided.
Tom offers them an alternative path to divert to Ilion, a grand city where a glee man could make a fortune. It's a tempting escape, a chance for a different kind of life, potentially safer than the one they're on.
It's a fork in the road, really, a choice to pursue a different destiny.
Yeah.
But their path, shaped by whatever forces are at work, keeps pulling them forward.
And Rand refuses, flat out. He's starting to find a sense of direction or perhaps desperation. He insists they must go to Tarvalon, the White Tower, the home of the Aes Sedai. He feels he needs answers about the dreams, about the forces pursuing him. He needs to understand what is happening to him, even if he has to go alone.
Yeah, that marks a real shift in Rand. He's moving from simply fleeing from danger to actively seeking understanding and maybe control over his fate, whatever that might be.
Along their journey, they have a tense encounter with the Children of the Light, better known as the White Cloaks. You recognize them immediately by their distinctive white cloaks and the golden sunburst symbol. They are fiercely anti-Dark One, seeing his influence everywhere, but they are also rigidly suspicious of and often hostile towards Aes Sedai, viewing them with deep mistrust.
The White Cloaks embody this dangerous certainty. While they oppose the Dark One, their absolute conviction and intolerance, especially toward those who wield the One power, makes them as much of a threat to our protagonists as the forces of darkness themselves. They show how dogma can blind you to who the real enemies might be.
They question Rand and immediately notice the heron-marked sword he carries, Tam's sword. That symbol marks him as something other than an ordinary farm boy, creating instant tension with the White Cloaks.
Right, the sword isn't just a weapon, it's a signifier of skill and potential lineage, and the White Cloaks' reaction to it tells you they recognize its significance, even if they misunderstand its meaning.
After that, they spend some time in Whitebridge, finding small comforts where they can, like staying with Farmer Grinwell, getting a warm meal. But even these moments highlight how much their lives have changed. Simple needs like finding food or dealing with farm dogs become challenges.
Those little details, they really emphasize their vulnerability and how far they've fallen from their comfortable lives. Even mundane obstacles feel more significant now.
And in Whitebridge, they have a particularly dangerous encounter involving a man named Goad. He's introduced as a merchant, but there's an immediate suspicion he's a Dark Friend, someone secretly serving the Dark One. There's tension with Hake and his bullies. Matt's hand instinctively goes to his dagger. The space is confined. Goad starts making demands.
Yeah, the atmosphere in that room is incredibly thick with tension and menace, it feels like. Like a fuse burning down and you're just waiting for something terrible to happen.
And then something violent and utterly inexplicable occurs. The book describes it simply. A flash of light fills the room, there's a deafening roar, the air burns, and Goad and the others are just gone, dead. Rand is completely confused by what happened, and both he and Matt are left with that strange, disturbing, dirty feeling, similar to what they felt after the nightmares. The book doesn't explain it further, just presents the event as a terrifying, unexplained burst of power.
Exactly. This incident is just stark. Uncontrolled power manifesting violently, seemingly emanating from or around the young men. The lingering sense of spiritual contamination connects it back to the Dark One's influence felt in the dreams, but the source and nature of the blast itself remain a profound mystery within the text, raising questions about what incredible raw potential might be stirring within them.
They eventually arrive in Caemlyn, the capital of Andor. It's presented as a magnificent city, impressive, with the palace standing out, its spires and domes guarded by the Queen's guards. But even in this grand city, the tension is palpable. A large presence of White Cloaks creates friction with the Queen's guards, highlighting the divided loyalties and suspicions running through the land.
Caemlyn represents, civilization and political power.
Yeah.
But it's far from a safe haven. The conflicts and threats that plague the countryside are present even here, just in a different form.
While there, they witness Logan being paraded through the city he's identified as a false dragon, a man claiming to be the prophesied dragon reborn but is seen as a dangerous charlatan. And Rand notices a beggar, who he suspects is a Dark Friend, following him, a chilling reminder that hidden enemies are everywhere.
Yeah, the false dragon shows how prophecy and potential can be twisted and manipulated, while the beggar confirms that the danger pursuing them is persistent and insidious, operating in the shadows.
In the Palace Gardens, Rand has an unexpected encounter with Elaine and Gawain, members of the royal family. They defend him against a dismissive Queensguard officer who calls Rand a dirty peasant, but also pointedly notices the heron-mark sword. Elaine is described as having a personality where she wins every time, showing her inherent confidence and authority.
Quite a collision of worlds there. Rural farm boys meeting nobility. It also shows how the simple fact of being from the Two Rivers and carrying that sword is significant to others. sparking curiosity and sometimes suspicion, though Rand doesn't yet grasp why.
But they learn fast that Camelin is not a place they can stay. Master Gil, the innkeeper, warns them about Aleida Sedai, an Aes Sedai who was an advisor to the queen. She has the authority to use the queen's guards to search the city, giving them only 2 days at most to get out before she finds them.
Right. Political power, wielded by an Aes Sedai linked to the throne, becomes a direct threat. It shows that the dangers aren't solely monstrous or supernatural. They can be cloaked in authority and suspicion.
The weight of their situation is really emphasized here. Rand has a vision, a fear, of Trollocs and Fades attacking Camelin itself, burning the beautiful city, endangering everyone, including the palace. The thought that the Trolloc Wars could start anew, right here.
Yeah, this shows Rand is starting to see the bigger picture. It's not just about his own survival or his friends. It's about the potential destruction of a major center of civilization. The darkness pursuing them is capable of igniting widespread conflict.
It's in Camelin that they meet Loyal. He's an Ogier, instantly striking with his large size and distinctive twitching ears. He seems ancient, and is indeed old 90 years, he mentions, lived through the War of the 100 Years, a massive conflict centuries ago, and he absolutely loves books.
Lowell brings this completely different perspective. Wise, calm, and he connects them to the ancient history of the world in a way no one else has. His love for books highlights that knowledge and history are forces in themselves.
And crucially, Loyal identifies Rand as Tavrin. He explains this concept, that the pattern, the fabric of reality woven by the wheel of time, doesn't just unfold randomly. For certain individuals, the pattern actually bends and shapes around them, pulling people and events into their path, sometimes drastically altering the course of destiny.
That concept, Tavrin, it just fundamentally changes how you see the characters and the events. It introduces the idea that some people are central to the unfolding story of the world, whether they choose to be or not. Their lives aren't just their own, they are tied into the fate of everything.
Loyal also sheds light on another mystery they've encountered, the Ways. He describes them as a network, a form of travel created in the Age of Legends by men who could channel the One Power. But because the male half of the power is tainted by the Dark One, these pathways became corrupted. They are now dark, dangerous, and home to Machin Shin, the black wind that drives travelers mad. That's why they're, universally avoided.
It explains why something created for connection and travel became a source of profound danger. It's a lasting scar on the world from a time of immense power and disaster, and a direct consequence of the Dark One's corruption.
But, while we're talking about Loyal and the ancient world, let's shift gears slightly and highlight a different kind of power shown in the book, something that really stands out against all the darkness and destruction we've discussed. It's the story of Loyal using the traveling song.
Oh, this is such a beautiful moment.
Yeah.
A real contrast. Loyal sees a withered oak tree and decides to sing to it. Rand's experience of the song isn't just auditory. He feels it deep in his bones. It sounds like the earth itself singing, like birds trilling, like gentle spring breezes, even the quiet sound of butterfly wings.
And the effect is, it's remarkable. While the song seems to last only minutes to Rand, when it finishes, the sun has risen significantly. The oak tree and the flowers around it are transformed. The leaves on the tree become greener and firmer. The flowers stand straighter, fresher, vibrant.
Yeah, this traveling song. It's an example from the book of a power connected to life, growth, and harmony with nature, not destruction or force. It shows that ancient powers existed not just for warfare or travel, but for nurturing and healing the world. It offers a glimpse of a different, perhaps older and purer, connection to the fundamental forces of creation, contrasting sharply with the tainted power and violent manifestations we've seen elsewhere.
A powerful reminder, that the world of the book holds more than just shadow and conflict.
Definitely. And as the narrative approaches a key point, Nynaeve is still relentlessly pursuing the group. Her determination is just incredible. She uses Bella, the farm horse, and manages to survive dangers near the White Cloaks camp, witnessing what seems like fire falling from the sky.
Her resilience is a force in itself. She eventually catches up and even has a conversation with Lon, where her deeper feelings for him are pretty clear. Lon expresses the struggle between his duty as Moraine's warder and the possibility of a personal relationship. He tells her he will never shame her by giving her widow's black as her bride price, a stark statement about the constant danger his duty entails.
That exchange really adds a human layer to the high-stakes fantasy. It shows the personal cost of the fight against the Dark One, the sacrifices and heartbreaks involved, even for someone seemingly as stoic as Lon.
Their journey takes them to Fal Dara, a fortress city near Tarwin's Gap, a crucial defensive point against threats from the Blight. They meet Lord Agelmar and Ingtar. Moraine shares her perspective on dark friends and the web of the pattern, suggesting that at this point, even small actions or encounters can significantly change its shape.
Yeah, it reinforces that idea, their central role and the delicate balance of events. Everything they do is potentially momentous, capable of tipping the scales.
Lord Agelmar has a strong reaction when Rand's implied lineage from Manetheren is revealed, an ancient kingdom known for its fierce resistance against the Shadow. Agelmar states that the blood of Manetheren could strike a blow at the Dark One. Meanwhile, Ingtar expresses frustration at being kept back from the recent fighting in Tarwin's Gap.
Right, Manetheren. That brings in the weight of legend and history. It links Rand to a heroic past he barely knows, hinting at a potential destiny tied to that lineage, and highlights the tension between those eager to fight and those held back by circumstance or command.
Agelmar then recounts the battle that just happened in Tarwin's Gap. It was a major victory, with the Trollocs and Halfmen routed, but he describes it as a miracle. The earth itself seemed to intervene, swallowing the retreating enemy, and mountains buried them, preventing the human forces from having to engage in a full, costly battle.
That miracle, like it's another instance of this, profound, inexplicable, power-shaping events on a grand scale. It wasn't achieved by armies or channeling, but by the land itself. It raises questions again about the fundamental forces involved in this conflict. Is the pattern actively fighting back?
Finally, the narrative brings them to the edge of the Blight. This is described as a desolate, corrupted landscape, physically embodying the Dark One's influence. Entering it is terrifying. Rand feels intense, physical fear, a tight chest, stinging skin, trembling, and finds he cannot access the void state, the inner calm he's learned to achieve.
The Blight is, well, it's the ultimate manifestation of the Dark One's corruption. It is a place where the very air is poisoned. Rand's inability to find his inner peace here underscores how overwhelming and pervasive the evil is in this domain. It's not just a place, it's a state of being.
Lon, in his typical gruff way, offers a moment of unexpected support. "Good to see you alive," she purred her, noticing the sword, acting as if nothing has changed internally, which strangely offers Rand some comfort. And Loyal finds Rand, providing a moment of levity with his characteristic remark about Elder Heyman and his books, saying that traveling with Tavern is more interesting than I expected, joking that if it gets more interesting than this, he'll just go back to his books.
Even there, right on the threshold of the Blight, Loyal's presence and his acknowledgement of Rand's Tavern nature. It reminds you of the deeper currents guiding events and the unexpected moments of connection and even humor found amidst the darkness.
So the book brings the characters to this crucial location, Faldar, right on the border of the Blight. Their lives, which began in a quiet, seemingly safe village, have been completely reshaped, expanded into a vast, dangerous landscape ruled by ancient powers and prophecy. They have faced monsters, human prejudice, inexplicable power, and their own terrifying potential, all driven by that cryptic message about the eye of the world and he who comes with the dawn.
Yeah, it really makes you reflect on how quickly a person's reality can be completely overturned by forces they never knew existed, and the complex dance between destiny, these overwhelming powers, and the choices they are forced to make in the face of it all.
And as you continue thinking about these profound ideas from the book, remember you can continue exploring them with Mindful Moments on our YouTube channel and through our podcasts. They are great places to find tools and prompts for critical thinking about the book's themes and characters.
Definitely. There's always another layer to uncover, another question to ask.
Given the miracle at Tarwin's Gap, where the earth itself seemed to fight the enemy, and the alewoman's message about blinding the eye of the world and he who comes with the dawn, what does this suggest about the true nature of the battle against the Dark One? Is it only fought with swords and armies, or are there deeper, perhaps even environmental or elemental forces at play that are actively shaping events and fighting alongside humanity?
That's a great question. The book seems to suggest the conflict involves more than just armies clashing. The pattern itself, the land, ancient powers. The scale of the struggle might be far grander and more fundamental than any character initially understands.
Thank you for joining us as we've unpacked some of this book. We hope you found exploring this world and its unfolding mysteries as captivating as we did.
It really is a fascinating world, rich with history, danger, and unexpected moments of wonder.
If you enjoyed this discussion, be sure to subscribe to the show so you don't miss our future explorations of other incredible topics. Share this one with anyone you know who loves rich fantasy worlds or enjoys unpacking complex stories. You can find a link in the show description if you want to get your own copy of the book. And most importantly, keep thinking critically about the ideas presented in this book and in our discussion today.
Until next time.